She didn't know I was awake. She thought I was asleep on the recliner. Like every other boring night, she came home drunk, stumbling in at 2 a.m. smelling like someone else's cologne and lies. But I wasn't asleep. I was wide awake when my wife leaned over my shoulder, slurred into my ear, and whispered, "I'm just waiting for you to die, so I can finally be free." And then she giggled, like it was some inside joke she shared with her demons. Then she dropped her heels on the floor, stumbled into the kitchen, and passed out with the fridge door still open. I sat there frozen, heart pounding, mouth dry. I couldn't move. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't drunk talk. This was a confession. And it made everything else finally make sense. All the cold stares, the fake headaches, the late nights out with the girls, the strange charges on our credit card, the burner phone I found once and convinced myself was for work emergencies. I'd been sleeping next to someone who wanted me dead. Do you know what that does to a man? It rips something primal out of you. It burns through your chest like acid. And in that moment, sitting there in the flickering light of the open fridge, I knew what I had to do. I waited. I listened to her snore, watched her body twitch on the tile floor like a poisoned rat. Then I stood up, walked past her, and started packing. No goodbye, no note, just silence, and a decision. Because when your wife tells you she's waiting for your funeral, you don't argue. You vanish. And that's what I did. By sunrise, I was gone. Out of the house. Out of her life. Out of the trap I had been too blind to see for years. But here's the part she didn't expect. I didn't leave to disappear. I left to discover. Because if she wanted me dead, then she must have had a plan. And if she had a plan, that meant someone else was involved. Someone she trusted enough to kill me for. Now I was going to find out who. And when I did, she'd wish I actually died. I drove through the night without a destination. Just the hum of the tires and that sentence echoing in my skull like a curse. I'm just waiting for you to die. It wasn't just betrayal. It was murder wrapped in a smirk. The kind of thing you don't come back from. She had no idea who I really was. She thought I was just Jason, the quiet husband, the dependable one, the man who let things slide. But before her, I was something else. I'd seen enough in my life to know when someone was plotting. And Tiffany, that which wasn't drunk talking. That was honesty slipping past her pretty lips because the bottle loosened her mask. The motel I stopped at was a dump. The kind with buzzing lights, stained walls, and silence so thick you could hear your heartbeat in it. I dropped my bag, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at my phone. I could feel it vibrating with unanswered calls, none from her. Of course not. She wouldn't notice I was gone until late afternoon, maybe even the next day. And when she did, she'd panic. Not because she missed me, but because I was gone. And she had plans. Plans that needed me dead. My insurance, my assets, the house still in my name. Tiffany had counted on a slow, stupid husband she could outplay. But I was wide awake now. I opened my laptop. VPN on. Burner emails. I started digging. I remembered the names she slipped up with. The fake girl nights. The guy she called just a friend from college. I remembered that one night months ago, when I came home early and saw her jump like she'd been electrocuted. First name that popped up in her messages? Brian. Tall. Tan. The kind of guy that wears cologne to the gym. She told me he was harmless. Gay, even. I believed her. That was my last mistake. I logged into our shared cloud storage. Tiffany never remembered to sign out. I checked the backups. One folder stood out. Work receipts. Inside were pictures. Not of receipts. Her. Him. Hotel rooms. Skimpy dresses. Poses she never gave me in 10 years of marriage. Video clips muted, but I didn't need sound to know what was happening. Her expression said it all. She wanted him. Desperately. I sat there frozen. My hand clenched around the mouse, jaw tight, breath shallow. The pain wasn't sharp. It was dull and massive, like someone dropped a boulder on my chest and just left it there. She had no guilt. She didn't even hide it that well. She wanted me to find it. No, she wanted me to die before I found it. The timeline made sense now. The canceled doctor appointments she insisted on handling. The pills she started giving me, saying they were vitamins. The time I blacked out driving home and crashed into that ditch, she blamed my stress. But I wasn't stressed. I was being poisoned. I opened the trash can on the cloud drive, scrolled, clicked restore, and there it was. A file labeled jinsurancefinal.pdf. She'd downloaded my life insurance forms, filled them out, updated the beneficiary. To herself. I laughed. It was short, bitter, and cold. I stood up, went to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes looked older than I remembered, hollowed out. But there was something else, clarity. I wasn't broken. I was pissed. This wasn't going to end with me disappearing. Tiffany thought she won. She thought she could lie, cheat, and plot behind a pair of green eyes and tight dresses and come out clean. She didn't know who she married. The next morning, I bought a new SIM card. New number. I texted one person, my old friend Marcus. He owed me a favor. One of those favors that came with silence and zero questions. I told him I needed surveillance. Not on Brian. On Tiffany. Because I was done playing house. And the next time she looked over her shoulder, she'd see me. Watching. Waiting. Not dead. Alive. And ready to end her game. Marcus didn't ask why. I told him just enough. That I needed eyes on Tiffany. That there were things she was hiding, and I wanted everything. Where she went. Who she saw. How long she stayed. I gave him the address, her license plate, and the name Brian. He nodded once through the encrypted video call and said, "You'll have it." By the next evening, I had my first batch of photos. She didn't waste time. Tiffany was at some rooftop bar with Brian, leaning into him like they were teenagers. Her hand on his thigh, laughing with that fake, breathy laugh she used on me when she wanted something expensive. She wore the red dress I bought her for our anniversary, said she'd never wear that trash in public. Guess she changed her mind. Another photo, her whispering in his ear, his hand on her lower back, his mouth grinning like he already owned everything. I stared at that image for a full minute. Not at her. At him. The confidence. The comfort. The knowledge that he wasn't a secret. That she had let him become permanent. That was the final confirmation. There was no fixing this. No confrontation with tears, and it meant nothing. Tiffany hadn't stumbled into an affair. She was living a double life. Planning a clean exit. My funeral was part of her schedule. She just didn't know the guest of honor skipped town. I called Marcus again. "I need audio." He delivered. The next file was rough. Windy. Voices muffled by the city noise. But then her voice cut through. Sharp. Clear. Unmistakable. "He's weak. Always has been. The guy actually cried when we lost power during that storm. What kind of man does that?" Brian's chuckle. "You sure he's not catching on?" "No. He's too tame. I could tell him I kissed his brother, and he'd apologize for working too much." They laughed together. She kept going. "God, I'm so sick of pretending. Do you know how hard it is to act like I care if he wants tacos or pizza? I don't even care if he ****ing chokes on it." Something in me snapped. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't scream. I just sat there and let the betrayal settle like cement in my stomach. She wanted me gone. And she didn't even have the decency to hate me for a reason. She just got bored. I looked around the motel room. Stained carpet, flickering lamp, that cheap floral smell pumped in through the vents. I used to imagine growing old with her. Traveling. Building a family. Now I was hiding like a fugitive while she laughed about my death with her lover over cocktails. I picked up my burner phone and started a new list. Step 1. Contact a lawyer, quietly. Step 2. Secure the bank accounts. Freeze joint cards. Step 3. Cancel the insurance policy, without alerting her. Step 4. Make her think I was still clueless. And then, Step 5. Watch her unravel. The next day, I sent a message to our neighbor Carl. Just a casual, "Hey man, I'm out of town for work. If you see anything weird at the house, let me know." His reply came fast. "You mean like the dude who's been parking in your driveway at night?" I froze. He sent a picture. Brian's car. Right in front of my garage. Every single thing was in front of me now. She wasn't hiding him anymore. She thought I was either too stupid to notice or too dead to care. But she made a mistake. She underestimated silence. Because silence doesn't mean surrender. It means I'm collecting everything. Every lie. Every betrayal. Every detail. And soon, she won't see me coming. I drove back to the city 3 nights later. Not to confront her. Yet. But to see it with my own eyes. My house. The one I built, paid for, fixed, lived in. The place where I imagined raising kids, growing old, dying in peace. Now it was a playground for betrayal. I parked a block away, engine off, windows down. The air was thick with that humid summer rot. Every sound felt sharper. Dogs barking in the distance, cars driving by, laughter spilling from someone's backyard. Then I saw the porch light flick on. There she was, Tiffany, wearing one of my shirts, oversized, navy blue, the one I used to sleep in. She used to say it smelled like home. Now she wore it while wrapping her arms around him. Brian stepped outside behind her, shirtless, smug, drinking a beer from my fridge. They kissed. Right there on the porch. No shame. No secrecy. Like I never existed. I clenched the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I wanted to storm in, scream, burn the whole house to the ground. But rage gets you caught. I wasn't here for fire. I was here for evidence. The next morning, I walked into a private investigator's office with a flash drive full of photos, audio, location data, and timelines. The woman behind the desk, mid-40s, cold eyes, sharp as hell, didn't ask why. She just said, "You want to bury her?" I nodded. She smiled. "You came to the right place." Within 2 days, I had everything. Bank transfers to an account I didn't recognize. Tiffany using my identity to take out a personal loan for home renovations. I didn't even know we had a second credit card. There were pharmacy records too. Prescriptions filled in my name. Drugs I'd never taken. Antidepressants. Sleep meds. One that, in high enough doses, could make you hallucinate or even pass out behind the wheel. Just like I did 3 months ago. That crash I thought was stress? She drugged me. She tested how far she could go. I almost died. That wasn't a fantasy she shared in a drunken haze. That was her blueprint. Her way out. My death wasn't going to be messy. It was going to look like a tragedy. A broken man, overworked, depressed, who just snapped. She even started planting the seeds. I found a message she sent her sister. "He's been off lately, sleeping weird, really quiet. If something happens, just remember I tried." I felt sick reading that. She was staging my story. While screwing another man in my bed, she was writing the eulogy she'd read at my fake funeral. But now I had the pen, and I wasn't writing an ending. I was writing her collapse. The next step was delicate. I needed to make her think I was still out of town, that she was safe, free, untouchable. So I sent her a text from my old number, just one line. "Landed. Long meetings. I'll call when I can." She replied 4 hours later with, "Don't stress. Love you. Love." She typed that while sitting in another man's lap, sipping on my bourbon, planning my exit. I saved the message, forwarded it to my lawyer. Then I bought a new suit, booked a hotel in the city, and waited. Because the thing about predators? They never look over their shoulder until the trap snaps shut. And when mine did, she was going to learn the difference between playing with a weak man and underestimating the one who was watching. A week later, I walked past her at a coffee shop. She didn't see me. She was too busy laughing at something on her phone, sitting with one of her friends, Kelly, I think. The same one who once told me I was too soft for someone like Tiffany. I guess they were right. I was soft. Now I was something else. Tiffany looked relaxed, glowing even. Not a trace of guilt. Her smile stretched wide as she leaned across the table and said, "It's already halfway done. Once the paperwork clears, I'll be home free." Kelly raised her eyebrows. "You mean like officially?" Tiffany nodded, grinning. "Jason's got no clue. Still in Denver or Dallas or wherever the hell he is. The lawyer thinks we can finalize in 2 months tops. Once the new deed's in my name and the insurance stuff kicks in, I'm golden." I stopped breathing for a second. She'd already filed for ownership transfer. Claimed I'd agreed. Claimed I signed. I'd seen enough. I left the shop, walked down the block, and called my PI. She's committing fraud. Identity theft. Medical poisoning. Conspiracy. I want a full legal package. I want her frozen in place. And I want it quiet. "You'll have it in 3 days," she said. Good. Because in 4 days, it was our anniversary. And I had a gift to deliver. I showed up that evening to my house dressed like a delivery driver. Hat low. Hoodie up. Knocked twice. Brian answered the door with one of those arrogant half smiles. "Yo, what's?" He didn't finish the sentence. I raised my phone, tapped the play button, and let him hear Tiffany's voice from the recording. "Once he's gone, it's all mine." His expression drained to white. I saw it, the flicker of panic. "Tell her," I said calmly. "She's got 48 hours to confess, or I make this public. To the cops, the banks, her sister, her job, everyone." He didn't say a word, just nodded slowly. I turned and left. Not because I was done, but because now they knew I was watching. 2 hours later, I got a voicemail. It was Tiffany, her voice trembling. "Jason, I didn't mean anything I said. I was drunk and stupid and scared. Can we talk? Please. No apology. No ownership. Just fear." She wasn't sorry I disappeared. She was sorry I came back. I didn't respond. Instead, I finished the legal work, froze our joint accounts, reclaimed my share of the property, sent notarized letters to every institution she tried to defraud with my name. Then I sent her one final message. I'm not dead. I'm not weak. And I'm not yours anymore. She replied 20 times. I read none of them. Later that night, Marcus sent me a final set of photos. Tiffany sitting alone on the edge of our bed, head in her hands, drenched in sweat and tears. Brian gone. Bank account empty. Mailbox full of legal notices. The perfect image of a predator realizing she was prey all along. But it wasn't enough. Because she still didn't learn. Not until I walked back into that house, one last time. The door creaked as I pushed it open. She hadn't changed the locks. Of course she hadn't. She was still clinging to the illusion that I'd come back, that she could explain it all away, gaslight me into forgiveness like she had so many times before. Tiffany sat on the couch in one of my hoodies, legs curled under her like she was some fragile little thing. Her eyes were red, but her posture was all performance. No real fear. Just panic about losing control. When she saw me, she tried to smile. Jason, thank God. Stop. Her mouth froze. I dropped a manila folder on the table. It landed with a sharp slap that echoed in the silence. What's that? She asked, voice small. Everything, I said. Your messages. The hotel footage. The audio of you and Brian plotting how you'd take everything once I was gone. The pharmacy receipts. The fake signature. The insurance documents. Her face twisted. Jason, I never wanted. You wanted me dead. Silence. Her lips parted. No words. You wanted to watch me slip away slowly. Die in my sleep, or behind the wheel, or slump over in the shower while you made yourself a smoothie in the kitchen. Jason, please. I trusted you. I said, my voice low, trembling from the weight of what I was holding back. I gave you everything. You didn't just cheat. You hunted me. She stood up then, angry suddenly, like she still had the right. Oh, don't act like some ing victim, she hissed. You were a ghost for years. No passion, no fire. You let life eat you. Brian made me feel alive. Then why'd you need me dead to stay with him? Her face cracked. For the first time, I saw it. Not regret. Not love. Just defeat. She sat down slowly. I walked over to the desk, opened my laptop, and played one last recording. Her voice again. This time from a phone call she didn't know was being monitored. I'm not scared of Jason. He's pathetic. He couldn't even fight if he wanted to. I stopped the clip. Do I look pathetic now? She looked at the floor. I waited. Nothing. I've already spoken to the police, I said. They have everything. You'll be hearing from them soon. You won't be arrested yet. They'll want to talk first. Give you a chance to explain. Her head snapped up. You're turning me in? I'm freeing you, remember? I said quietly. That's what you wanted, isn't it? To be free. Her hands trembled. I'll lose everything. You planned for me to lose my life. She lunged at me, screamed, tried to slap me. I caught her wrist midair and pushed her back gently, firmly. She collapsed into the couch, sobbing now, mascara streaking down her face like poisoned ink. I stood there a moment longer. I'm not here to hurt you, Tiffany. I'm here to end this. And I walked out. The air outside felt like the first real breath I'd taken in months. Cold. Honest. I got in the car, started the engine, and drove. No rearview glances. No second thoughts. Just the road. I was alive. And she would finally have to live with what she'd done. The news came 2 weeks later. Tiffany was arrested outside a boutique downtown, still pretending life was normal, wearing her usual sunglasses and a fake smile like nothing had happened. They didn't even cuff her at first, just escorted her into the unmarked car, nice and quiet. She looked confused at first, like she thought it was a mistake, like her looks or tears might buy her another excuse. But then she saw the warrant. Fraud. Identity theft. Attempted insurance manipulation. Possession of controlled substances under someone else's prescription. She'd always been so careful, but not careful enough. I watched the footage from a private feed Marcus had set up across the street. It wasn't public news yet, but it would be. Her family would find out. Her work. Every person she ever lied to or walked over. She couldn't charm her way out of this. And me? I was sitting on a balcony, 2 towns away, sipping coffee while the sun came up. The silence was finally clean. For the first time in years, I wasn't wondering who she was texting, where she was, or what kind of twisted plan she was spinning behind those eyes. There was no plan left. The lawyer called that afternoon. The house was officially mine again. All the fake transfers reversed. Her name wiped from the deed like it had never been there. She'd also signed, without reading, an affidavit agreeing to a separation of assets in her favor, thinking I was dumb enough to leave her everything. She got nothing. No home, no money, no insurance payout, and now, possibly no freedom. I didn't laugh. Not once. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like reclaiming oxygen. That night, I found myself walking along a quiet pier. The wind was cold, and the town was still. I thought about how it all started. How a whisper at 2 a.m. from a drunk woman had torn open my life and forced me to see the truth. She said she wanted me to die. Instead, I woke up. I didn't just leave her. I left who I used to be. The man who tolerated silence, who mistook red flags for passion, who convinced himself love meant endurance. I'm not that man anymore. And if someone ever whispers in your ear that they want your life to end, don't wait. Don't scream. Vanish. Let them rot in the ruins they built. You walk out while you're still breathing. And then, you start living for real. The letter came a month later. No return address. Just my name written in shaky handwriting that I recognized instantly. I almost didn't open it. Thought about tossing it straight into the fire. But something made me rip it open. Not out of curiosity, out of closure. Inside was a single page. No greeting. No apology. Just this. I still don't believe you left. I keep waking up thinking it's a dream. I thought you'd come back. You always did. You were weak like that. But now I see you weren't. You were just waiting. Watching. You scare me now. Not because of what you did, but because you finally stopped loving me. That's the part one can't live with. No signature. She was right about one thing. I had always come back. After the screaming fights, after the nights she vanished without explanation, after the bruises on my pride and cracks in my sanity, I still came back. I had confused suffering with loyalty. Thought that enduring her storms made me strong. But real strength? It was walking away. For good. I folded the letter, placed it on the edge of the dock, and let the wind take it. The water swallowed it whole. No trace. No weight. Like her, Tiffany never got the ending she planned. There was no funeral. No payout. No sobbing widow collecting her prize. She just got caught, exposed, and left behind. Me? I bought a cabin up north, near a lake, somewhere no one knows my name and the phone barely rings. I spend my mornings on the porch, my nights under stars, and my thoughts in peace. Sometimes I think about her, not with anger anymore, not even regret, just distance, like remembering a fire you barely escaped. If I could speak to the version of myself that sat in that kitchen months ago, numb and broken while his wife whispered death into his ear, I'd only say this. Don't stay. Don't fix it. Don't wait to become a ghost. Leave while your heart still beats. Because the worst kind of death isn't when your pulse stops. It's when the person beside you starts digging your grave while holding your hand. I lived, and now I live better. That's the real ending. Not revenge. Not justice. Freedom.